Today we're going to read the author's note at the end of Wilma Unlimited. Remember that the author's note comes at the end of the book. The author's note might give you more information about that person. Maybe it didn't fit into the story, but it's still something that it's important. The author's note might give reasons why the author chose to write about that person or to write that story. Maybe they're a family member, maybe they were inspired by them, maybe they did something amazing for the world or for the area. An author's note might also give new information about the person's life. Like Wilma Unlimited, the story kind of stopped when she got her gold medal, but she was only like 22 years old, so there's more information about that person's life. And the last thing is they might tell you what that character is doing present day, meaning what are they doing today in the real world, in our real life, if they're still alive. So here is our author's note for Wilma Unlimited. Remember, she began her life very sick with polio, was able to overcome it, then she eventually becomes an Olympic champion. Let me fix my... There. Author's note. Wilma Rudolph became, at age 20, the first American woman to win 3 gold medals at a single Olympics. When she returned home from Rome, her family was waiting for her, and so was all of Clarksville, Tennessee. The huge parade and banquet held in her honor were the first events in the town's history to include both blacks and whites. A banquet is when people get together and eat a meal. During the time of Wilma's childhood in the 1940s, polio, also known as infantile paralysis, was the world's most dreaded disease. A cure for it was not found until 1955. By then, it had killed or crippled 357,000 Americans, mostly children. Only 50,000 fewer than the number of Americans who had died in World War II. After she retired from her career as a runner in 1962, retired means she stopped, Wilma became a second-grade teacher and a high school coach. She remained a much admired celebrity, but to prove there was more to her than just running, she started a company called Wilma Unlimited that gave her opportunities to travel, lecture, and support causes she believed in. More to her means that she wanted people to know more about herself than just she was a runner. Later, she founded the non-profit Wilma Rudolph Foundation to nurture young athletes to teach them that they too can succeed despite all odds against them. All odds against them means some people might have a lot more things they have to overcome. Like Wilma, she had to overcome her disease, she had to overcome being poor, she had to overcome the color of her skin, she had to overcome being a girl, all of those things. The story of all she overcame in order to win at the Olympics has inspired thousands of young athletes, especially women. Inspired meaning they're doing something now because of her. Wilma Rudolph died in 1994. So in this author's note, 1, we learned more information about her that she's doing in her real life, becoming a teacher, starting a foundation, and then we kind of learned present day that Wilma Rudolph died in 1994. We also learned a little bit more about polio, infantile paralysis. Remember, paralysis meaning you couldn't move. My mom's cousin also had polio in the 1950s, and he still wears a metal brace just like Wilma did because his left leg also became paralyzed. But he still walks, he still has a job, he's got kids, he has grandkids now. So he was very lucky that he was able to get the vaccination and the cure. He was born in like 1952 or 53, my mom said. So he had to live with it for 2 years before that cure and that vaccine came. So he was very lucky for that. But it was also a very scary time for people. Alright, you can go to your double entry journal to write new information you learned from the author's note and maybe some questions that you now have.